Great. And I'm with you, Laura. I can't do this without notes, sorry. So yes, I want to talk to you about connecting to the unconnected, and you may not understand what I mean, but hopefully I can make that clear. All of us here today are here because of our involvement with the world of online social media, Twitter, Facebook, friend feed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The point is that we're here because we've been connected somehow by modern technology. However, not everyone out there has or is even willing to jump on the social media bandwagon. And there are lots of reasons for this. Misunderstanding the technology, genuine lack of interest, fear of change is a really big one, a lack of time, information overload that several people have mentioned today, excuse me, any number of other reasons. And the fact that there are so many reasons why someone may not join us online should give us a hint that there are a lot of people out there who haven't joined us online. So there are two questions. First, why would we want to reach and communicate with those people who in many cases have chosen not to communicate with us? And second, once we know why, how do we reach them? So why do you want to reach these people? Well, according to a Forrester research report released last month, just under 1/3 of adults in the US now visit social networks online regularly, which according to them is at least once a month. That's over 55 million people in this country, and that's a lot of people, but that means that more than 2/3 of adults in the US do not visit online social networks regularly. So if you're in business, you don't want to miss out on 2/3 your potential customer base. If you're in a charity, you don't want to miss out on 2/3 your potential donors. If you're in any organization you don't want to, that is trying to communicate a message, you don't want to miss out on 2/3 or more of your potential audience. There's another special reason for charities as well. Most charity organizations exist for the purpose of assisting people without many of the resources that we have. And that means that many of those people probably don't have regular access to online social networks that we use all the time to be made aware of the very people that are trying to help them. Now, not everyone may be part of what we call a social network now, but everyone is part of a social network. Because, excuse me, what I'll call offline social networks. Everyone knows someone, and if there are two people, that makes it social. People are part of families, churches, alumni associations, business groups, volunteer organizations, on and on and on. There are probably more offline social networks than there are people because most people are members of several overlapping groups, and that's the key. That's the key to the second question, which is overlap. Most of those groups contain both people we can connect to via online social channels and people we aren't communicating with because they're outside of those channels. And that leads us to everybody's all-time favorite, most effective marketing method, which is word of mouth. And we've all heard that a million times, but there's a reason you've heard that a million times, because it's what works. What we need to know is how to get our online network connections to talk about us with their offline connections. Now, according to Keller Fay Group, there are 3.5 billion word-of-mouth conversations every day in America, and 90% of those take place offline. How do we get those conversations to be about us? The best way is the best way to get people to talk about you anywhere, and that's give them an experience that's so extraordinary that they cannot wait to tell everyone about it. And that's the way great brands generally create evangelists for their brand, like Apple and Starbucks. You may know people who evangelize those places. You may be a person that evangelizes those brands. Why? Because they created an experience that was so different from what people expected that it generated talk. Doing that will get people to talk about you both on and off. People will tell great stories they hear online, but they have to be great for them to share them. So you're probably already trying to be great. You're probably already trying to be different from your competition. So what are other ways that you can connect to these unconnected people? Depending on your situation, incentives can work. It doesn't necessarily have to be a monetary incentive, but it can be. It could be the form of a referral program, rewards, gives discounts or preferred customer treatment, or even just a simple thank you for sharing your story. Because simple appreciation goes undervalued far too often. Because it does, being the person that shows that appreciation can make you stand out even more. And and get people to share your story with others. Another method to get people talking that can be promoted online and spread very quickly offline is the publicity stunt. Now, if you go this route and you have any question about whether it's the right way to go, I strongly recommend you talk to a professional in the PR business because they can generally tell you if your big idea is a bad idea very quickly. But it doesn't have to be complicated. Now, my father was a minister for many years. As a kid, I remember him telling everyone in the congregation to tell everyone they knew that we wanted to have our biggest attendance at the next Sunday service that we'd ever had. And it worked. Because why did it work? Because people want to be part of something big. And not only did it work, it got people to tell the story beforehand, to tell all their friends, hey, come to this, it's going to be big, and tell the story afterwards too, because hey, we were part of something big. And that's the kind of thing that these days could easily be promoted online and then spread and migrate to the offline world. But beyond word of mouth, there's another way to reach the unconnected audience. And it's a way that has lost a lot of favor in modern marketing, but I think that's mostly because it's done so poorly most of the time. And that's the A word, a word that's almost forbidden among many of us in the new media age, and that's advertising. Yes, interruption marketing is losing its effectiveness in many cases, and it will change, and it is in the process of changing, but it's not going to completely disappear. Well done advertising can be done in a way that allows multiple uses for both traditional channels like television and newer online channels. One of the best uses of traditional channels is to motivate people to move online, where not only can the advertiser expand their message, but they encourage discussion to take place, in effect bringing more of the unconnected audience into the connected world. You can see this with almost every television show that's in production now. Show's producers will encourage you to go online and see expanded scenes, outtakes, behind the scenes, and if they're smart, they will have found a way to provide a way for those people that go there to connect and communicate with other fans of the show, in effect reinforcing the show's message and encouraging them to share it with other people. There are other ways to use the online world to connect with the unconnected offline world as well, and I certainly don't know all of them. And if you have any ideas about how to do it, I'd love to hear them. But the most important point is not to forget that the unconnected world is out there, and it is very big. There's so much more that can be said about the interconnection of these two worlds and methods to bring them together, but obviously our time here is very short. So I just want to let you all know how much I truly appreciate your time being here, and I want to say thank you very much.